Hi, this is Philip with G6 Technology Services. Today I just wanted to make a quick video and go over the newly released MacBook Pro 16-inch. And this could potentially be really exciting because if you've been following any of the Apple MacBook Pro drama over the last few years, you'll know about the horrible keyboards that have been included with these machines. And what, in my opinion, is the biggest selling point of this new model is Apple's newly redesigned scissor mechanism, which hopefully will be a lot more reliable and won't lead to any of the issues that people have had with the keyboard getting gummed up with debris and not working. So that would be great, and they've also included a lot of other nice upgrades. I do have to be honest, I cheated and did look at some of the pricing and some of the features ahead of time, so I'll try to fake some excitement and shock and awe for the purposes of entertainment. But anyway, let's move on. So here's what it looks like. Nothing too out of the ordinary, looks exactly like the other 15-inch models, except obviously this one's 16-inch, but I don't know that you can tell if they're side by side which is which, because that's not a very big difference. But I think they were able to take advantage of the thinner bezels to probably have a pretty similar physical size, even with getting that extra inch on the screen. So let's just click on Learn More, and we'll just see what they are going to try to do to sell this to us. And of course, they have their really nicely designed website that animates when you scroll and whatnot, designed for those who defy limits and change the world. Well, we'll see about that. So we do have our typical selection of ports. It looks like we've got 4 USB-C ports, and this is actually pretty shocking to me. The most shocking thing, 8 terabytes of SSD storage. Wow. I don't know that I've seen that much in a laptop before. I've never even seen that much in a desktop before. And you can bet you're going to pay a pretty penny for 8 terabytes of Apple SSD storage. Additionally, they've upgraded the graphics. We do have 8-core CPUs, 64 gigs of memory, which is respectable for a laptop, I guess, but it would be nice to be able to see that go up a little bit higher, considering that you can't upgrade it later. So we want to make sure when you order this computer that it's going to last well into the future and you're not going to run into any memory usage issues. So let's see what else they have on here. Retina Display. Somebody who uses it wants to talk about it. New LED powered backlight. So they really focused a lot on that display, processor, and memory. Okay, so I think we've pretty much seen everything. Oh, new cooling system. 28% increased airflow. Well, that's another one of those Apple stereotypes that everything always overheats. So that's great that they've improved the airflow. I have an older 15-inch Retina MacBook Pro. It's a late 2013 model. And it does get pretty warm if you put it under a heavy workload, like exporting a video. But just normal use, it's fine. Let's see. Just real quickly scroll through and see if there's anything else notable. Some other person's making a statement about the computer. 8 gigs of GDDR6 video memory, that's nice. Keyboard, here's what we came for. There's magic in a perfect workspace. Well, let's see. What do they say here? Everything is where it should be, and everything makes sense. Well, that definitely is good. People have had a long time to perfect the layout of keyboards, so it would be a pretty bad mistake to mess it up at this stage in the game. But that looks like a standard keyboard. And a big feature that people were asking for that is here is the standalone escape button. That's great. It's no longer integrated into the touch bar, but we do still have the touch bar. Rest of the keyboard looks pretty much the same, standard buttons. And I don't know when they started doing this, but it looks like some of the symbols, have those always been there? I don't know. These don't seem familiar. I know this one has been. But anyway, let's see what they say about it. Magic Keyboard features refined scissor mechanism with 1mm of travel for responsive, comfortable, and quiet typing experience. And then we do have the touch bar. Dedicated escape key allows for quick switching between modes and views. And the inverted T arrow keys, yes, enable fluid navigation. So that was another big sticking point people had with the previous generation, is that the left and right arrows were the same height as all the rest of the keys. So now it's a more familiar design, lets you index your fingers on it by using that empty space so you don't have to look down. That definitely is great. I think if this keyboard performs as well as the traditional scissor keyboard, like on the MacBook Pro that I have, then this is going to be a slam dunk. But only time will tell. We'll have to wait for people to start using it and spilling things on it, whatnot, see how it fares. So audio has been improved, better mic. Storage, that's a huge thing. Like I said earlier, 8 terabytes. That is just beyond belief. I wouldn't even know what to do with 8 terabytes of storage. And it's supposed to be better performance too, 3.2 gigabytes per second. I don't have the stat on the previous model to compare, but we'll just assume that they're correct in saying that it's faster. Better battery, of course. T2 security chip, secure boot, encrypted storage. That is nice that they highlight the important things. Well, it's the same. Thunderbolt 3, yes, of course. Multiple displays. Add for other products. So let's go over to buy, and we'll find out what it's going to cost to own one of these. And as always, there are multiple models that come pre-configured. So we have Space Gray and the traditional silver, and 2 models, one with the 2.6 gigahertz 6-core processor, and the other with a 2.3 gigahertz 8-core processor. Apple has also increased the storage on the base models according to another document that I read, but I can't find it now. I think it was in a press release. So the base model comes with 512 gigabytes of storage, which I think is a good amount. Definitely wouldn't want to go less than that, because if you really start working with the computer, that can fill up pretty quickly. That's what I have in my 15-inch Retina MacBook Pro, and I haven't filled it up yet. It's gotten close. The worst I've ever come, I think I've had 100 gigabytes free, so that's not that bad, but it is nice to feel like you have a cushion. So if I had it to do over again, maybe would have gone with the terabyte, but that was a pretty expensive upgrade back then. So our base model comes in at $2,400, and the upgraded model is $2,800. So those are pretty expensive. I remember back in 2013 when I ordered my 15-inch, the price was somewhere around $2,300, I think, and that was about as maxed as you could get it. Best CPU, maxed memory, which was 16 gigabytes. I could have, like I said earlier, could have gotten the terabyte storage, but I went with the 512 because I think it was like another several hundred to $1,000 or some ridiculous thing like that, and I didn't find it to be worthwhile at the time. So that's a little bit disappointing to see that these machines are getting more expensive as time goes on. You'd think they would get cheaper, but price of progress, I guess. I don't know. So let's find out what we can customize on the base model, and then we'll do my favorite thing after that and go to the more upgraded model and max that out and see what the most expensive possible configuration is that you could get with it. So we do get a 6-core 9th generation i7, 16 gigs of RAM base, and our AMD Radeon Pro, 4 gigs of memory, 512 gigabyte SSD storage. As far as I know, the display is the same across all the models. 4 Thunderbolt 3 ports, touch bar, touch ID. That is one of the benefits of going with the 16 or previously 15-inch over the 13, is you get a lot of these things upgraded that just come with it stock. With the 13-inch, I think there were some models that only had 2 of the Thunderbolt ports, and some of the models didn't have the touch bar and touch ID. I don't think they offer those anymore though. But anyway, let's see what we can do to upgrade our processor. For an extra $300, we actually get a 200 megahertz slower processor, but we do get 8 cores. So I guess that would depend on your workload. If your single core clock speed matters, then you may not want that option. But if you have workloads that can spread across multiple cores, this would give you better performance. It does have better boost performance, though. You do get 500 megahertz faster boost performance. For memory, that's nice, we do get the full range. We can go up to 64 gigs if you wanted to. And our graphics can be upgraded to 8 gigs. So, and of course your storage. Wow. That's a price of a whole separate base model computer just to upgrade to 8 terabytes of storage. But we expected this. That's wow, yeah, that is very expensive. So keyboard and pre-installed software won't do, and you get your laptop, your cord, and your power supply. So we come out to $6,099 if you pretty much max out this base model. So actually what I think I'm going to do, I'll just open a new tab, and we'll leave this one here and compare what options you can actually choose and see if there's anything that's exclusive to this upper model, because sometimes they do that. So this time we'll go ahead and select the higher end model, and right off the bat we have a terabyte of storage, and we'll see about this processor. Let's see, 2.6 gigahertz, 6 core. So, actually, they don't offer any 6-core CPUs in this model. You get a 2.3 gigahertz 8-core. Was that one of the options here? 2.4 gigahertz 8-core, which is this one. So, you can upgrade both models to the same highest processor, but this 6-core version is not available on the upper end. So that's interesting. Memory I would expect is identical, 16, 32, and 64 at 26, 66 megahertz. That's the same. Graphics, let's see what we have for graphics. So this model comes with the 5500M with 4 gigs, which you can upgrade to. So that's this. So it does come with a slightly lower end, but you can upgrade to the one that is the base GPU in the upper end model. And we have a 5500M with 8 gigs, which is the same thing, so you can upgrade there. Our storage, same options we have there. So let's go ahead. I'm just curious to see if we make this model have the same configuration, what price difference is there? So we can't actually use the highest end CPU, but we can go with the 2.4 gigahertz 8-core I didn't pay attention. It's 2.4. Oh, so you can choose the same processor. Okay, good. 64 gigs of memory, 5500M with 8 gigabytes. There. 8 terabytes of storage. So it's $6,099. And it's the exact same price. So that's interesting. So they just give you some predefined options for different price points, but you can, it looks like, customize them all to the same specs for the same price. So that said, $6,099. That is one expensive computer, especially if you consider some of the alternatives that you can get, some nice Windows-based gaming computers for a lot less than that with similar specs. The storage, let's see if we put that back to a more reasonable amount. So $3,899. That's still pretty expensive, but definitely more manageable. The storage definitely is the most expensive thing. That really is shocking how much this is, but can you even get an 8 terabyte SSD somewhere? I don't know that I've seen one of those. 2 terabytes. And of course, the Samsung 860 EVO, they go up to a 4 terabyte, I think is the largest. Yeah, the largest one is $579.99. And granted, that is just a SATA-based 4 terabytes is $1,000 upgrade here, so considerably more expensive, but This one is just a SATA based one, it's not PCIe based, so we can expect that it's not going to cost as much. Let's see if we try to filter it to non-SATA based. So 970 EVO, 500 gigabyte. Let's see if they have an option. So they only go up to 2 terabytes for $500. So anyway, we can see the price discrepancy. So that's a $400 upgrade. So you already have to pay whatever the base cost is, which they don't really tell you. So for $400 more, I would expect that you would be able to get more storage. But anyway, that's, as they say, the Apple tax. But I think the larger SSDs, that might actually be a fair price. I'm not sure. Like I said, I haven't really seen SSDs that are that expensive, or that large in capacity is what I meant to say. But let's not dwell on that anymore. We pretty much are wrapping things up here. You get the same accessories in the kit. So most expensive one you can get $6,099. Let's just see what a reasonable configuration would be. What would I get if I was doing one? If I was going to buy one of these for myself, what would I do? So I'd probably want the upgraded processor, because, you know, why not? $200 extra. You're already paying several $1,000s anyway, and you can't change it later, so might as well get a few extra ounces of performance out of it. The memory, this one's always tricky. Definitely would not go with 16. Would choose between 32 or 64. And that's for my workload. If you're just buying this because you like Macs and you want a big screen and you don't really do a lot, you're just going to be browsing the web and whatnot, 16 will be perfectly fine for you. No need to waste money with more than that. But in my case, I tend to do a little bit extra on there, and could take advantage of some of that extra memory. So I would probably at least go with the 32. Is it worth the extra 400? I don't know. Let's come back to that after we change everything else. Graphics, it's $100. Might as well upgrade. You get double the graphics memory. SSD, that one's tough. Terabyte at least. You can't go lower than that anyway, but that would probably be pretty comfortable. And we're at $3,500. So this would probably be my configuration for what I would call a power user. And again, what would be good for you would be dependent on what you're going to be actually doing with the machine. If you just, again, wanted to just have something, well, actually, let me go back to the other screen here so I can select the other model. But if you just want something to use that runs Mac OS, it's modern, and you just want a larger display, but you're just a basic user, just do web browsing, maybe social media, email, some light video and photo editing, this lower model would probably do just fine. So let's see what I would change here. So the CPU for just an entry level, non-power user, the stock CPU that it comes with, the base level, is more than enough. 6 cores at 2.6 gigahertz. That's pretty respectable. I'd be happy with that. Again, 16 gigs of memory, perfectly acceptable. Graphics. Now, again, if you're just going to be doing, productivity type things, that would be fine. If you do plan on, maybe you're not so much a power user, but you want to try and do some gaming, then, well, I would probably go with the higher end model that we looked at previously. But if you're not working with 3D or anything, just the base graphics would be fine. Storage, this is the only one where it really, I can't say. It depends on what you're going to be doing with it, because you can still be a non-power user and take up a lot of storage. Say you really love taking photos or videos. Maybe you're not going to be doing a whole lot of intensive editing of those things, but you just want somewhere to put them, and you don't want to have to lug around external storage devices and whatnot. This would be a really convenient way to have your entire digital life basically all in one place. And you can, of course, and I would definitely recommend backing up to external storage and using a cloud backup provider like CrashPlan or something like that if you are going to try and do this. You don't want to have all your eggs in one basket, so to say. So This one I would say it depends on your use case. If you're really just going to be doing online things and not saving a lot locally, the 512 gig would be perfectly fine. If you do like to take photos and videos, I would at least probably say to go for the terabyte, because that gives you room for expansion in the future. If you use, close to your 500, which if you're shooting, 4K video or whatever, if you have a newer iPhone and you have it set that way, that can be eaten up pretty quickly. If you're filming, a graduation ceremony or a wedding or something, you've got an hour of 4K footage, and you do that kind of thing often, that can really take up a lot of space. So if you want to dump it off onto your computer to free up space on your phone, then you might want to consider a larger SSD, and that's going to be up to your needs. So, but again, I would probably say to go with the terabyte, because that's one of the more easy things to fill up that people would maybe regret later. And there's not really anything else that you would choose. You can purchase some of the software if you want to, but $25.99, that's a little bit expensive, I guess, for a basic work environment when you're not going to be doing a lot. But they really aim this model at, based on the name MacBook Pro, it's aimed at professional users who are going to be doing a lot of heavy activity on here. So I guess that would explain why they don't really have a more affordable option. But again, if you do need the large screen size, then I would probably go with this configuration. This would be pretty good. That is one thing I do have to give Apple some credit for, not offering a junky option. You can't configure this model in a suboptimal way. It's impossible to buy one that's not going to perform well, and that's great, because I see a lot with people with Windows computers. They'll buy one from any manufacturer. Really, I think they all pretty much do this. They have budget computer models, and I really wish they would not do that. They have not enough memory. The CPU is really slow and underperforms. The storage, sometimes I'm shocked you have a 16 or 32 gigabyte eMMC, which is not even a good performance SSD. It's like an SD card in a camera. And they're just horrible computers. There's nothing that you can do software-wise to make that a good computer. They run out of storage immediately. As soon as you install Windows, your storage is at least halfway full. There's no room for really anything else. CPU is usually so slow. It's only going to be dual core maybe, and it's just sitting at 100% utilization all the time. Your memory, probably it only comes with 4 gigs of memory, maybe 2 even. I've seen some like that. And again, it sits at 70 or 80% usage all the time, and it just feels sluggish. And that's the complaint that I get. People bring these computers in and say, "Why? I just bought this. Why is it so slow? I don't know what happened." And then I have to, try to explain how the specifications work, the CPU, the memory, everything. And basically that old saying is accurate. You get what you pay for, and if you spend, $200, $300, $400 on a computer, it's probably not going to perform very well. That being said, you don't have to spend $3,000 to get one that does perform well. They definitely, all the major manufacturers, Dell, HP, Lenovo, whatever, all have models that are around $1,000, $1,200, $1,500 that probably give you as good a performance as you'd get with one of these, but you can't run Mac OS on it. And a lot of people really are tied to that. They love Mac OS, and I don't blame them. It is a nice operating system. Personally, I don't really care for one over the other. I have Windows computers that I use and Mac computers. It depends on what I'm doing, the use case at the time. But they are very pleasant to use. I do like them, so that definitely is a valid reason. If you wanted to have a 16-inch display and run Mac OS, then that would justify spending this much money if it's worth it to you to do that. So if you don't need the big screen size, they do have other models, which I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time because that's not what this video is about. But you could choose the 13-inch or a MacBook Air, and you can get something that runs Mac OS that's a lot less expensive. So anyway, I've rambled on, didn't really mean to go off on that rant just now, but that's the 16-inch MacBook Pro. So it looks promising. The specs look great, and honestly, they have for the last few models anyway, but I have just not been recommending MacBook Pros for the longest time because of the horrible keyboard. So that's what I'm really waiting to see. Hopefully, we can see some people buy them and review the keyboards. I'm not going to do that unless Apple wants to give me one of these for free to try out, but I'm not going to spend that much money just to try the keyboard, and I don't need a new computer right now. So we'll just have to wait and see. I'm sure that there will be plenty of videos and articles and things talking about the keyboard in the upcoming time as people are buying them and trying them out. And of course, they'll probably have display models out at Best Buy and well, of course, at the Apple Store. I don't mention that offhand because we don't have any around here. But if you do live near an Apple Store, definitely I would say to go check out one of these in person and just pull up, text edit or something and just type a few lines in there and just see how it feels. And let me know in the comments if you want to, or if you're considering buying one of these. I would definitely go try it out in person at a store before you make the purchase, just so you can make sure that that keyboard is going to be something that you can live with. And hopefully it's going to be good because, like I said earlier, that old scissor mechanism, they've used that for so long. I don't know when that mechanism started, but it's like the old faithful mechanism. It's just been around. You can count on it to work. I've been servicing Macs for a number of years now, and I've never had any issues where people have brought in where the keyboard is not working, except if they spilled water or a pet clawed some of the keys off of it or something like that. But in terms of warranty-related issues, I haven't had any keyboard failures or anything. The mechanism is very sturdy and reliable, and it feels comfortable to use. The MacBook was my daily driver in college. I had typed many papers and notes and things on that in class, and it's a very comfortable keyboard overall. So I think that's going to wrap it up. Don't know what more I can say about it. I've already rambled on long enough. So anyway, I'm really excited about this. I hope it works out. I'm ready to start being able to recommend MacBook Pros again if the keyboard issue has been fixed. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you plan on getting one of these or you have one, feel free to leave a note in the comments and just let us know what you think about it. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.